The film begins by showing us a park in New York where everyone is busy in their own world. We see two girls sitting on a bench. One of them notices that suddenly a strong gust of wind passes by, and then she sees that all the people standing in the park have turned into statues, frozen in place. When she tries to call her friend, she notices that even her friend is reacting strangely. Then, right before her eyes, her friend pulls out her hairpin and stabs it into her own neck, killing herself. On the side of this park, we are shown a construction site. From the top of the site, a man suddenly falls and dies instantly. At first, everyone thinks it was an accident. But in the very next moment, they see that one by one, all the laborers working on the top floor begin throwing themselves down, killing themselves. The scene then cuts to a school. Here, we are introduced to a teacher named Elliot. While he is giving a lecture, he is suddenly called into the staff room. There, he learns about the incident happening in the city where people are killing themselves. In the park too, one by one, all the people had killed themselves, and now Central Park was filled with blood. The principal assumes it to be a terrorist attack, thinking that the terrorists might have released some virus or chemical into the air, which causes the human brain to stop functioning and forces people to kill themselves. For the safety of the children and the school, they decide to shut it down and send everyone home. On his way out, Elliot is joined by his friend Julian, who suggests to him, "Why don't you come with me to my village? Everything there is safe." Elliot finds the idea reasonable and, upon reaching home, begins packing. At home, he sees that even his wife is watching the news about the incident. The government, too, is unable to give any explanation about the virus that was making people kill themselves. No one knew where this virus had come from. Watching the countless corpses on television frightens Elliot's wife. They immediately leave their house and head towards the station. At the station, they find Julian waiting for them, but his wife has not arrived as she got stuck in a rush. The station is overcrowded, and everyone is desperate to leave the city. Finally, the train arrives, and Julian is forced to tell his wife to come by the next train. He then leaves with his daughter, joining Elliot and his wife. We are shown a scene of a park in Philadelphia. Just like in New York, a sudden gust of wind passes through, and all the people in the park freeze and stop moving. The scene then shifts to a road next to this park, where all the cars have suddenly stopped. A police officer steps out of his car, picks up his gun, and shoots himself. After this, one by one, other people step out of their vehicles and start killing themselves with the officer's gun. Some stab themselves, while others start banging their heads violently to end their lives. Meanwhile, Julian is still trying to contact his wife, who tells him that she is safe. But shortly after, their train is stopped midway. Everyone becomes worried as all the passengers are asked to get off. Elliot goes to the conductors and asks why the train has stopped. They tell him that the signal ahead has mysteriously disappeared and no train can go further. They had also lost contact with the control center. Since no one knew what to do, all the passengers take shelter in a nearby hotel. Here, a woman shows Elliot a disturbing video of a man feeding himself to lions. The video was so creepy that whoever watched it became disturbed. Suddenly, the television in the hotel starts broadcasting news about the virus. The shocking revelation was that the town they were currently in was now being called the hub of the virus. Hearing this, everyone panics and tries to escape. The power supply of the town is cut off. Everyone rushes to their cars, trying to flee. Elliot and his wife, who do not have a car, start asking people for a lift, but no one agrees. Finally, a couple who had been observing them for some time offers to take them along. Julian comes to Elliot and tells him that he cannot leave with them because he must find his wife. However, he cannot take his daughter along in this danger. With a heavy heart, he asks Elliot to take care of his daughter. He kisses his daughter goodbye and leaves with another group, heading toward New Jersey. Julian's car is shown driving along a road where they see corpses hanging from trees. This terrifying sight shocks the couple driving the car, and they begin to panic. Julian tries to calm them and asks them to seal all openings of the car. They do seal the openings, but forget to check the hole in the roof. Soon, another gust of wind arrives, which always signified that the virus was attacking. The car becomes uncontrollable, speeds up, and crashes. The couple dies instantly, while Julian manages to escape. But he too is not spared. Using a shard of broken glass from the car window, Julian slits his wrists and dies. On the other side, Elliot's group is shown. Using binoculars, Elliot sees piles of corpses lying ahead. They cannot move forward that way, so they take another route, only to be stopped by a soldier's jeep. The soldier tells them that the base ahead has been completely destroyed and all soldiers are dead except him. Soon, more cars arrive, and the soldier stops them too. Everyone is forced to stay in this town. According to a local man, they decide to take shelter in nearby houses. A large group forms, led by the soldier. Elliot is in the front group, while others remain behind. As Elliot's group moves forward, a gust of wind passes by the people at the back. Everyone freezes, and the soldier salutes before shooting himself with his gun. One by one, the others use his gun to kill themselves. Elliot and his group are horrified to see that all those behind them are dead. Elliot begins to panic, fearing that they will be next. From these events, he deduces that the virus is spreading through plants. He realizes that it mostly attacks when there are large groups of people together in areas with dense vegetation. He tells his group that to survive, they must separate and move individually. Just then, another gust of wind arrives. Elliot tells them to run in the opposite direction of the wind, hoping it will save them. The wind passes over them, but miraculously, nothing happens. His theory turns out to be correct. Moving apart and against the wind helps them survive. Now that the group had split, Elliot was left with his wife, Julian's daughter, and two young boys. They find a car with a map inside, which helps them locate themselves. Soon, they come across a large mansion and enter it. Inside, they find that everything is grown and made from plants, as the mansion was surrounded by vast fields. But for Elliot, this is not good news, since he believes the virus spreads from plants. Staying here is dangerous. They quickly eat something and leave. Outside, they find that the rest of the group had also entered the mansion. A gust of wind passes, and everyone begins acting strangely. One man runs a lawnmower and lies down beneath it, killing himself gruesomely. Others, too, start killing themselves in different ways. A nearby radio broadcasts that the virus is spreading less towards the west. Following this, they begin knocking on doors of houses in the west, but nobody opens. At one house, an old man replies from inside, but refuses to let them in. Frustrated, the two boys with Elliot try to break the windows and doors. Angered, the man shoots them both dead. Terrified, Elliot flees with his wife and Julian's daughter and reaches an old house. In the backyard, they find an old lady. Thankfully, she is kind and welcomes them as guests, cooking for them and giving them a room to stay in. However, Elliot notices that the woman is a little strange. His suspicion proves right when at night, he finds her standing outside their room, sleepwalking. The night passes. The next morning, Elliot wakes up to find his wife and Julian's daughter missing. Frantically, he searches the house but cannot find them. He suspects the old woman has done something to them. Entering her room, he finds a doll on her bed. Suddenly, she appears behind him, accusing him of being a thief and telling him to leave her house. Elliot realizes that she is mentally unstable, having lived alone for too long. Just then, the wind starts blowing again. The old woman, affected by the virus, begins acting strangely, banging her head against the windows until she smashes through, killing herself. With the windows broken, the wind quickly enters the house. Elliot rushes to seal the doors and shouts for his wife to hide. Hearing voices, he finds his wife and Julian's daughter in a storeroom. His wife asks what's wrong, and Elliot tells her that the virus is now even more dangerous. It no longer attacks large groups only, but has begun targeting individuals too, one by one. He fears it might be their last day alive. In these final moments, they talk about their happy memories and apologize for their past mistakes. Elliot tells his wife that he wants to die with her. His wife agrees, and she comes out of the storeroom. Elliot too steps outside, and they both walk towards each other, holding hands, ready to face death together. The wind blows violently. They close their eyes and wait for the end. But surprisingly, nothing happens. They realize the virus had ended at that very moment. They survive. Days pass, and they learn that the outbreak has ended, but no one can explain how it stopped or where it came from. 3 months later, we see New York and Philadelphia returning to normal life. Elliot and his wife have adopted Julian's daughter and are back home. On TV, during a podcast, a scientist is asked about the virus. He replies that sometimes events in the world have no reason. This was simply nature's warning to humans to stop destroying it. Watching the podcast, Elliot's wife takes a pregnancy test and discovers she is expecting, bringing them joy after so many years. The film then cuts back to the same park where the virus had first begun. A loud scream is heard. A boy turns around, first seeing everything as normal. But then a gust of wind sweeps through. His friend begins acting strangely, and once again, people start dying one by one. It becomes clear that the virus, which had disappeared 3 months ago, has returned. And how much destruction it will cause this time, no one knows. And with that, the movie ends.